Like, this is what we do. He's looking for like 200 plus. Oh my freaking God. That's going to be a tough sell. That is lower than what he's even currently making right now. It's going to be a tough one. You just have to still show up and just do the work. Happy Monday, and welcome back to another Week in the Life video where I show you what I do every single day as a recruiter in the technology industry. I am excited. I'm still just running off the high from the previous personal record that we were able to shatter on a single day on my own desk in the previous video. And if you have no idea what I'm talking about, stop right now, go to the previous video, check it out, and come back. And if you've been following for a while, thanks again. Really grateful and appreciate all of you for spending a couple minutes with me as we push forward. But filming this, it is now the second week here of June. This is when things typically slow down, and just to kind of add to that, like a lot of people are becoming a lot more afraid and uncertain with the recession that's happening right now, with record high inflation, interest rates, just everything just looks bleak and gloomy. But I will do my best to push through with you all this summer and try to make it awesome, try to make it productive. And whether you're working like me or you're on vacation, and if you are, I'm jealous, thanks again, really grateful. But I would very much would love to ask for you guys to continue to stay buckled in, stay focused, be consistent. And if you are pumped as I am, to try to make this month awesome, try to make the next couple months, this summertime awesome. It's really gonna set yourself up for the Q3 and Q4 remainder of this year. But please feel free to give us a like, subscribe, click that bell. It really helps a lot and helps the algorithm. Share a lot of the great recruiting content with all the other people out in the world, and would really appreciate that. But as of right now, spoke to a lot of good candidates. We have about 5 more candidate calls today. Hopping on a call real quick with the candidate, gonna do a process call with him. We have a potential offer with our clean tech energy. He is an engineer, which I'm really pumped about. Tomorrow, actually gonna sync up with an old client of ours that we were able to place his, I think, second or third hire. I shot this when I was even traveling in Vegas many months ago, but he is now fully scaling, and he's looking possible for engineers, maybe even a CTO. So really excited to pick that up as well. That's at 20%. But aside from that, my outlook is positive as much as it can be. I feel good, I feel healthy, and just gonna do whatever I can to make this day and make this week awesome. So I hope you guys are pumped for another week. Hope you guys are crushing all your goals. Let's keep it going, and let's see what sort of like really crazy, difficult, and challenging experiences and situations we'll find ourselves in. Let's get started. All right. Just got off the phone with a engineer for a clean tech company. This is gonna be a tough one. I ended last week with the clean tech company emailing me saying, hey, how is your candidate feeling? We're kind of excited about him. Might move to an offer. Can you just, get the latest? And I did that. And he's in South Carolina. He does not want to move, and I think they were aware of that from the beginning. So I think there's some sort of opportunity for him to be remote. I think that's great, but there's a lot of other concerns and obstacles that we need to kind of navigate here. His wife, he's working at a really well-established company. His wife just wants him to stay. They have kids in school. My clean tech company, they're a startup. They only have about 50 people, but I told them, yes, there's a risk of my client going bankrupt next month. That's very unlikely. There's also a risk that they can be the next $1 billion company. The question is, what do you want in your career? And all he's used to is working at really large, old, established companies. And I think the reason why he responded to me in the first place is he kind of wants to try something else. I think trying something else and then aligning that with a company that has a long-term vision that he resonates with, I now understand that's really important for him. Making sure that, it's remote, that's obstacle number 1. Obstacle number 2 is the salary. I think if you were to even entertain leaving, it would have to make sense for him and his wife, and they're just doing their best to be more kind of less risky, and especially with the whole market uncertainty with the recession coming on. And then the next thing is he just needs to know, what is their long-term mission? Is it something that he can really genuinely feel really good about? And I think even though he got a glimpse of that through the interview process, it didn't really nail home for him. And so because of that, he naturally has questions. And so he wants to kind of sync up back with the CTO to hear from him directly, exactly what their mission is and what are they trying to accomplish as a company. And so now my job is to attack and address every single concern. I'm gonna ping my client, I'm gonna ping my CTO, and just share everything that I'm sharing with you now. I urged my candidate to reach out to my client to set up a phone call, ideally today or tomorrow, to kind of go over everything. So moving forward, once you have a candidate in late stages, naturally there'll be a lot of obstacles and concerns and questions. That is the most important time to address all of them, because how can you make a big decision about your life if you have so many questions and concerns? And a lot of times I see recruiters not addressing that. And so by not addressing that, even though a good offer comes in, it's very easy to just naturally shift focus to your concerns and questions if you were the candidate, and then ultimately just reject the offer. And I think if you're able to really create and maintain really good relationships throughout the interview process, the candidates will open up to you more, they'll trust you more, but most importantly, that's where us recruiters have to step up, really be at the candidate's corner, go to bat for them, and try to help them make that decision as best as possible. Our job is to maximize the terms, to address and navigate all concerns so that when an offer comes out, they're in the best headspace that they can make a decision. And of course, we would love it, nothing more than for them to accept our client. But if they don't, it hurts, I get it. You just have to wish the best for them, because getting a new job is tough enough. Our job is to just present the facts, fight for them, maximize the terms as much as possible, and just hope to see how the candidate goes. And I think if you do your job well enough, if you're able to align the job to everything the candidate's looking for, I think there's no reason why the candidate shouldn't go for your job. I'm gonna sync up with them. I'm gonna share the news. This is gonna be a tough one as always, but I'm gonna be working on this throughout the week. And my next focus is continue to talk to more candidates and keep submitting them to our great companies. Let's keep going. Happy Tuesday. It is 1 p.m. and I am super stressed. I just got off the phone with our aviation tech company. They just opened up 2 more product positions, a product analyst and even a product manager role. Both ideally, if they have consumer facing experience, that'd be great. For the product analyst, really looking for someone that has any Google Tag Manager, Google Analytics. If they have any data integrations or worked with like Amplitude mixed panels, that would be a huge plus. I'm already trying to work on a senior director of product, but it's a little frustrating because all the candidates we sent to them, we're not getting any feedback. And I hate being in a situation where companies just don't give us feedback. And I know that there's a lot of different reasons why we wouldn't get timely feedback. And I totally understand hiring managers have so many other things to do than review resumes and candidates from us. But at the same time, I'm all about candidate experience. I just want to make sure that whoever we sent has a good experience, and whether or not they move forward or they don't move forward, we hear back from them timely so we can let the candidates know so that they can, of course, plan on other interviews. And so like that to me is very important. So I'm a little bit excited about picking up new roles, more stressed out, but a little bit worried that like if we start new searches and send more candidates over, it's going to be the same situation. We're just like going to be waiting for feedback, which is not ideal. So I was able to really just verbalize this, and then the CPO has told me that he's going to add another stakeholder onto the thread so that they can help review resumes if he's too busy. All of these are like, great things that I want to hear. Whether or not it's actually going to happen, that's a whole nother thing. But I also got off the phone with another one of my clients, my clean tech, where they are possibly thinking about extending an offer to another engineer. The issue is I spoke with the engineer. He's just not fully closed. He's working in a big company. His wife doesn't want him to work at a startup. He's already getting paid really well. He's in a cushy job, like life is good. His kids are in school. So the first objection is he doesn't want to reload, but then he was able to make that clear with my company and they agreed. But honestly, it's about the salary and his long-term vision. Even though my clean tech company is building a product that can help just have a positive impact, he wants to understand technically what the future is, if it can really follow through what the company is talking about. So he really wanted to connect with the founders, the CTO, and just dive deep on a technical basis so he understands the technology genuinely has the potential to change the industries or many industries out there. And if that answer is yes, I think that will have a huge influence in whether or not he wants to accept it. But even if that's a yes, even if the salary is kind of close to what he's looking for, it's still going to be a tough sell because he's kind of 1 foot in, 1 foot out, and a lot of it is because of like his wife. And in this situation, family members will always have a really strong pull. And typically, what you can do here is maybe I've had situations where I have my candidates bring their significant other, and I chatted with them both. I connected both them to the founders. Even before that happening, there's things that I can do, like try to maximize his salary. Like he's making around 160 right now, but for him to actually even consider working at a small company, even though like my client is checking off all the boxes in terms of growth and revenue and founders and investors, it financially has to make sense for him to leave his large established job. So he's looking for like 200 plus. And that's going to be a tough sell. I literally also just got the phone with a new recruiter at my clean tech company. It's kind of a meet and greet, but also just sharing with her my read of the candidate, just telling her I don't think it's going to be a very easy close and they're going to have to pull off all the stops. And she told me, like, they did benchmarking, they did research, and for someone like his level, they're looking at 110 to 150. He's already at 160. So I'm like, look, benchmarking is fine, but a lot of it doesn't really adapt to the current market conditions, which is post-COVID, pre-recession, and then for really good technical talent, they can just ask a premium. And so now is not the time, especially with your ambitious goals, to be like, you're looking for 160, we'll offer you 150. Or if you want 160, maybe we'll toss in a 5K bonus. Like, that's just not gonna do it with him. He needs something significantly more on salary, assuming that all of his other concerns are also addressed by the founder. So I was hoping to kind of paint that picture. I think she got it. It's just a lot of fear and uncertainty right now, especially with recession. The last thing people want to do is work at a smaller company and add greater risk. But we'll see. But I know that with my candidate, no matter how hesitant that he may come off, like, part of him is excited, a part of him is interested. He always kind of wants to go through that like fast growth startup environment at a company with the mission that he believes in. So there's a lot of levers here. So many other things going in my brain right now, but picking up new roles, left, right, and center, trying to close open roles that I have right now. And man, it's a crazy, crazy day, but going to see what we can do here. Fingers crossed. Woo-wee, happy 5 o'clock on a Wednesday. Really spent all my day in repitching and targeting and sourcing for CTO candidates, for product directors and product analysts. I'm going to sync up with my aviation tech client tomorrow with another hiring manager to make sure we're aligned and synced about the product manager role. I thought about hitting that today or yesterday, but like I said earlier in this video, I don't like to do any targeting until I speak and hear directly from the hiring manager, just to make sure we're aligned. Was able to really kind of get through all of my personal targeting, repitching, and sourcing goals for the day. It took a lot longer than I expected, and my fingers are tired and my head and eyes are tired, but it was still a very, very good day. A couple good news. We also have a marketing director that's slowly moving forward into the process. He has one more final round. And what's great about this is he was, I think, the second candidate that we found and checked off all the criteria that they're looking for, and now he's flying. I mean, this is exactly what I'm talking about, that if you take the time to understand what your hiring manager, what your client wants, it almost becomes easy. If you find the right person, things just happen very, very smoothly, and you don't really have to resort on shady tactics or sales or be aggressive or push to edge the candidate along. And so that's exactly what's happening. The candidate is pumped. I'm gonna probably sync up with him sometime tomorrow on Friday to do a deep dive process call to really understand exactly how he feels. Are there any concerns? Where is he with his other interview processes? Really just digging deep so that I can really help navigate the last 10 yards. And like I mentioned, I was hitting CTO, that's going really well. And then the other kind of engineering candidate with my clean tech company, he actually spoke with the CTO yesterday, and as I mentioned, one of his main concerns is he really wants to work at a company that has a long-term vision that he can opt into, he can buy into. He's at a very stable, cushy job right now. For him to leave that, to go against his wife, to walk away from a cushy team and one that he's been at for a very long time, for a more risky startup, I think one of the things that would help him, it wouldn't help make a decision of accepting, but one of the things that are really important that we need to kind of navigate and overcome together is the obstacle of is this company something he can believe into? And so he had a conversation with the CTO yesterday. Apparently that went really, really well. So much so the CTO wanted him to chat with the CEO, and he chatted with the CEO about an hour ago. Just heard back from a candidate. That also went really, really well. So I think that's great. I mean, it's really, really great to hear my candidate using language it went really well, because when I spoke with him and I saw him over a Zoom call, he didn't seem that excited. If anything, he had one foot already out the window, and he's like, okay, I'm just gonna kind of go with the flow and see what offer comes out, but I just wanna make my wife happy. I don't wanna rock any boats. I have kids in school. And so he was already kind of erring on not accepting. But now he said it went really well. The conversation with the CEO ended with the CEO telling him that they want to move forward with the formal offer, which is fantastic. So now it comes down to what is the offer they're going to come out with. When I spoke with the new recruiters that just joined, they're like, we want to benchmark everything. And I really hope they don't go off of the research that they did, because that is lower than what he's even currently making right now. And for him to actually consider a brand new role at a startup, he's going to want a premium. It's going to have to make financial sense for him and his family to accept the role. But the good news, I think, is that the CTO and the CEO both had good conversations, and it seemed like they both want to move forward and extend them an offer. So I can, of course, leverage them if they get a little pushback from the internal recruiting team. My hearts go out to the recruiting team. I know sometimes it's not the easy situation, but at the end of the day, regardless of like ruling and benchmarks and leveling, the company needs to hire people and need to keep continuing to hire people. I think that recruiting and HR, their point of view is make sure that they hire people that's scalable, that's sensible, that they're not hiring people and just throwing random money at people, and I totally get that. But it'd be a shame to now start losing people because your benchmarking is now unrealistic with what we're seeing on the market. So overall, really, really good news. And I think with like my previous deal that I did, if I didn't have that relationship with my candidate, if I didn't really make the effort, I wouldn't have made that deal. Like if you're just in recruiting and you're just finding candidates and you're throwing it at them and literally having an attitude like the lottery, and you're just kind of praying like 50-50, it's yes or no, you can again still do placements like that. But I think people who understand it's a people-to-people business, developing relationships is key, developing trust and camaraderie is key, and then developing a space where the candidate feels comfortable enough where, you know, we can be like an ear for them to rant to confide with, and then we can be a partner with them and helping them kind of navigate all the tricky situations and stressful interview stages and negotiations. Like the more relationship you can build, the better relationship that you'll have, and the better you can leverage that to create more of a smooth and easy close down the line, not to mention possible opportunities to work again in the future. So if you're just treating recruiting and you're just taught recruiting as kind of like a, you know, throw stuff at the wall, see what sticks, like I get that. That's kind of how initially I was taught. But once I been in this industry long enough, I realized people who have real good success to build really strong foundations think about developing relationships and making sure that they don't take shortcuts, making sure they don't burn bridges. And this applies to both the candidate and the client side. I know there are a lot of practices out there where you want to just jack up the hourly for freelance candidates. You want to just jack up the salary so that you get paid more commission. Like I totally get that. And I know it's tempting if you can feel like you can get away with it time and time again. But if the client finds out, for instance, that you're inflating salaries, like that can hurt your relationship, that can possibly breach trust, that can possibly end your relationship with them, and not just that, in the future as well. And that's just me. You can agree with me, you can disagree with me, but I think at the end of the day, like what really keeps me in recruiting is the amazing people that I can meet every single day, I can meet every single week, and being able to just play a role in a candidate's journey and helping them find a dream job, and playing a role in helping a founder or hiring manager find candidates they're really excited about. And the more genuine, authentic, and transparent you can be, the better relationship and potential you can have with anyone that you work with. So to me, I think that's a win-win. Don't take shortcuts for the short-term game. You know, do it correctly so you can have long-term, fruitful, productive career and a business. One of the ways that you can kind of think about recruiting is think of like what a professional athlete has to do every single day. Everything from taking care of yourself, making sure you don't party too hard, making sure you sleep well, making sure you eat right, and making sure you're on your A game every day. In recruiting, I think that's one cool metaphor that I can understand, that I can also relate to, because like in recruiting, especially on the agency side, where it's not a stable job and you have to constantly work a full desk business, bringing in clients, lead generations, bringing in candidates, like it takes a lot and it's stressful. But the reason why I'm able to push through is I'm just able to make sure every single day is consistent. I treat my morning routines very seriously. I make sure that after a certain time, if I can recharge during the week, and on weekends, I try to shut off as much as possible. I think taking care of yourself, mental sanity, emotional health is extremely important, not just for short-term success, but also for success long-term and just overall health and productivity long-term as well. And so, especially when you run your own business on top of that, where every single month you just have no idea how you're gonna do. Some months will be great, some months will be horrible. But either way, what I like to show is you just have to still show up and just do the work. You know what to do, just do it. And do it faster and do it harder and rinse and repeat. And I promise you results will snowball over time. Even though everything might feel dismal and gloom and bloom, I've been there. Burnouts, depression, dark days, dark weeks, dark months, constantly asking myself, why am I doing this? How much longer am I gonna be in recruiting? But if you're able to kind of just be aware, audit yourself, snap yourself out of it as soon as like those feelings happen, or you just kind of take a break, take a day off, just walk around, whatever you have to, go to the gym, take a jump in the pool, go for a walk, eat some good food, like whatever you have to do, just kind of like break that train of thought and just keep it simple. Stay with the basics, understand the core activities that you need to do that will push your desk and business forward, and just stay at it no matter what and be mentally strong, because the more you can do that, I promise you, your recruiting business will take care of your career, it will take care of your job, it will take care of your life, and you'll be extremely grateful for it. That's my midweek rant. I hope that helps, gives you some value. But I am about to continue sourcing, do a couple more emails, send that invoice, what's the whole purpose of this if you can't get paid? And then we'll see you tomorrow. So how do you feel about everything with them? Like, are you excited about the opportunity?
Yeah, full disclosure, there is another, I think I've mentioned this, but they're getting closer to an offer. So I'm still in the running for something else that I'm taking seriously. But EXO's definitely taken the competitive spot for that stuff.
My job for you moving forward is it's important that you and I just keep in regular communication with each other now, because I'm really a resource for you and I want to do whatever you can to help navigate the final 10 yards here. Hello, happy Thursday. Just did a wonderful process call with my candidate who is interviewing for Director of Marketing. The good news is that he really likes my client. The bad news is it might not be number one. He has another company that he's interviewing with. It might have a slight edge over my client because it's closer to what he wants in his career, which is more content and strategy focused rather than more kind of life cycle, retention, kind of email marketing focused as my client. So a couple things I have in mind that I can do is I want to make sure that when he talks to my client again, I really want to make sure that if they do offer him the chance to do a lot of content strategy, or if they can expand that scope, like they should totally do that to try to be as competitive as possible. And then I just need to kind of text or call my hiring manager and just kind of keep her updated, because I know she's very, very excited. But it'd be really bad to lose this, because if this is lost, we have no one else in the pipeline. So I'm just trying my best to source, target, to continue to repitch, to kind of build that pipeline. But it'd be amazing to kind of close this one off, move on, and get this done. All right, so just had another really good sync with my aviation tech client. I've been working with their CPO, but then now I talked to their product director who's helping to screen the resumes, which is always great, because as great as it is to work directly with the hiring manager, if they're super busy, then resumes can get just stalled. We don't want that to happen, not good candidate experience. I was able to chat with him, really, really cool guy. We're able to also just get on the same page in terms of like what they're looking for now. It seems like branding is the most important thing to their higher ups, which is not what we want to hear. It basically means they only want to talk to people coming out of top tech companies. And like everyone wants to hire top tech companies, but the question is, can you attract them and can you actually close them? The highest they can go for director positions, 215, which is actually quite low. They said ideally they'd be looking for a director of product, but director of product at these companies like Airbnb, Uber are making way more than 215. So we're gonna still do our best, but we'll probably still target folks that are a couple notches below, maybe current managers or associate directors, leads, seniors. They seem to also be open to more junior folks, which is great. So we can kind of really cast it out wide here, but always difficult. Not the best to hear that, the client only wants to go after the good brand people, because that just assumes that they only think that good brand equals the best talent, but there's so many equivalent or even better talent at companies that are a couple notches below that. Like not every amazing talent wants to work at these top tech companies for a variety of reasons. So either way, it doesn't make any sense to further talk about this or think about it. I have a mission, I have rules. Now I'm gonna follow them and get a search started. Actually been spending the entire day so far. It's almost 2 o'clock, repitching and sourcing directly for this, but I still have about 8 candidate calls. The sun is bright, I'm feeling good. I'm a little bit tired today, but still optimistic and positive, and gonna see what we can do to keep pushing forward, and then just to hopefully end the week on a high note. So let's keep going. All right, got a little update here. So my engineering candidate with my clean tech company got an official offer, which is amazing, but the terms are not so amazing. Like this is after I spoke with the internal recruiter and made it clear what my candidate wanted. He's making 160 now, and because of all the different reasons why he and his wife are hesitant about this job, the salary has to make sense. And they came out with 165. I mean, it's still, I guess, 5K more than what his current salary is, but it's not gonna do the job. So I now have to have another conversation with the recruiter, see if they can come up. I hope that goes well. If not, maybe I can kind of chat with the founder, which I have a really good relationship with. I have to also sync up with my candidate. I know that since the last time I spoke with him, he spoke with the CTO and CEO. So I'm hoping maybe like because those conversations went so well, he might be a little bit more flexible on the salary. We'll see. But it all really depends here on like how creative the company can get. I know they're trying to go and create, proper leveling for the roles, but the leveling is extremely off. I mean, they quoted 110, 150, almost everyone that I'm sending them is well beyond that. So I don't know where they're getting their data from. And it's not even like adjusted for our market conditions too. So I'm just gonna have to have a frank discussion, see what we can do here. But I think with the offer and where it stands right now, it's not going to do anything. It's not gonna lead to an acceptance. So I'm gonna have to just try my best to keep my candidate engaged because he's like, I'm not too happy about this. And I don't blame him because we talked about this and I'm kind of surprised that, the company here is lowballing. But I probably in their perspective, they're probably, think it's a fair offer because it's on the top end of the leveling. But now the question is their leveling actually accurate? So we'll see. I mean, good news, his offer is still an offer, but now I'm trying to think about ways to actually make this happen and close it, because just because an offer comes out doesn't mean we'll actually close it. So gonna be hopping on the phone with both of them, not together, one after the other, probably another 2 hours from now. So keep you updated. But in the time being, really just been sitting here all day sourcing product analysts, managers, directors. I got 3 more candidate calls, 2 more interviews happening today. So getting a little tired, but still got to push on. Okay, so it is a little after 5 p.m. here on a Thursday. I just got the phone with the recruiter talking about the candidate that they're really now apparently excited about. I mean, they told me this is a critical hire. They want to make it done. I got the full deets of the offer, 165 salary, 5,000 stock options, which is speculative. So putting that aside, $10,000 sign-on bonus. So he's at 175 full cash. And so I was just talking with the recruiter. I'm like, I'm going to chat with him in about an hour to see, honestly how he feels. Like he told me in email, it's not what he expects, which doesn't really sound too positive. And I know they're trying to respect leveling, and then just as a kind of to be proactive, we're just brainstorming different ways that this can go. Like if he wants more salary, she needs to know, and she needs to kind of run it by the head of HR, like what's the best practice for increasing salary and how much can they go? Because I know before, like they were just super great and just like, whatever the candidate wants, the company gives. But now it seems like some of the people that are a little bit less experienced are just making way more than they should have compared to people who are more experienced. So I understand why leveling is really important. So when you obviously bring people on board moving forward, it just makes sense, right? But at the same time, like when they were leveling where my candidate's from in South Carolina, his job goes from 110 to 150. He's already at 160. So I don't know, again, where they're getting this data and if it's fully updated. But, we're playing hypotheticals, which is really, really important. Like if the candidate has questions, I recommend he should talk to the CEO again. The CEO historically has done a great job in really closing candidates. So we definitely need that firepower to kind of keep the candidate in the game. But most importantly, I know it's going to be still a tough sell for my candidate. And I think at least the main difference between now and last I spoke with my candidate is he had a wonderful chat with both the CEO and the CTO. So I'm hoping that can kind of check off most of the concerns that he has. He still probably will have a good number of concerns. I think a lot of them will be around the benefits and the salary, and I just need to be able to convey and work with the recruiter that like if it's salary, how much, how high can we go, and can we just do whatever to kind of make it happen. So yeah, here we go. Middleman again, stuck in the middle. See what I have to do to save this, keep him engaged, but I'll be talking to him in a little bit. I got 2 more candidate calls, and it's been a long day, but gotta keep moving forward. Just gotta do whatever you can to get the job done. Oh man, quick update. So the recruiter just called me again and told me that her head of HR, when she chatted with the client, the biggest concern was the wife's concern about the benefits. And that's a big danger zone because my client, which is a fast growing startup, because they're small, they don't have access to the best benefits. It's really kind of a marketplace, which is very standard practice for a lot of startups. And it just can't compete most likely with what he's going through, what he currently has at his big institutional company. And so If that's the case, that would be a very big obstacle. But I think she said that there's a workaround. I think within a certain time period, the candidate is able to continue his current insurance with his current company for at least 12 months. And then my client would be able to kind of cover him on that. So I think that's good that there is a workaround, there's some sort of solution. But I told her if this is the case, if it really comes down to benefits now, they're gonna have to come up super high, much higher than expected on the salary just to kind of compensate. Because if it's a salary thing, it's easy, just up the salary, candidate can accept. But if it's not even about the salary, it's about the benefits. And I know that he has a wife who's worried, he has 2 sons in school, like it's gonna be a tough one. Oh my God. So I hope that's not the case, but I have a feeling it's going to be the case. But we have counter strategy with the workaround, and then whatever additional questions that he have, I'm just gonna do my best to counter and then push him to chat directly with the company and then to the CEO, who can do a much better job in explaining a lot of the more specific fine details and close him. I still have no idea how my candidate feels. I hope it's positive. Gonna be chatting with him in 20 minutes. We'll see you in bed. That's great. I mean, I know that when you and I spoke last time, the long-term vision was really important for you. So it sounded like you were kind of able to get a much better picture after additional conversations with both of them. Is that correct?
Yeah, that was the key thing. When I asked him, the long-term vision, his answers were right in line with me, and then some of my long-term vision research questions, he answered those. So we spoke for, must have been, I think, it took about a half an hour to answer my questions, and then we spoke for about another 15 minutes. So it was a good conversation.
Nice. If you still would like to chat with him again, like he wanted me to convey to you, he's more than willing to hop on a phone call again. Like he just wants to be helpful in any way that he can.
You reached out to me. I was kind of strange because I usually don't respond to anybody, but for some reason I responded to yours. I don't know why, but
well, I'm honored.
You're the first person I've talked to even looking at anything.
Oh wow!
And for some reason, I felt I needed to do it.
On the whole, my read is things still sound pretty positive, which is great. He really did have a good conversation. One of his biggest concerns about long-term vision, that seems to be, for the most part, resolved, which is fantastic. My biggest role right now is to just keep him engaged, keep him positive, and he's looking forward to chatting with you tomorrow.
Okay, this has been very helpful. Thank you.
Oh my freaking God. I heard from my candidate overall, like he's really excited, but he still has a lot of concerns. They need to make sure like they can kind of cover the travel and lodging, the benefit stuff, like how is that gonna work? But I chatted with the recruiter and she's like, hey, there could be a workaround. And at this point, like my job is to just keep him positive and keep him engaged. And the reason why I can really just get excited about him, because I know I'm backed by a company and my client that's willing to do literally anything at this point to make this happen. And I know that they can because I know they've stretched a ridiculous amount for other candidates before in the past. There's a difference between giving people false promises. Like I don't lie, I don't give people false promises. Like I back up my words with companies that can deliver. And so I think what is a saving grace here is working with a client that understands like, hey, if they really want someone and it might not be an ideal salary or the ideal situation, they're willing to be open-minded and think of creative solutions to kind of get the job done. And I really, really appreciate that. But on the flip side with the candidate, my job as well is also just keep him engaged and positive as much as possible. At the late stages, our job is to just kind of counter objections and concerns. Like that's it. Anything that we can help with, we need to get it addressed. And then if there are no questions, really dig deep. Like are there really underlying questions that would prevent your candidate from accepting? And what I discovered is that on an interest and passion level, my candidate really likes the job. Like he told me it went from, let me just hear Preston out to I can seriously consider leaving. And now he has to really number crunch like his pension, his benefits, traveling to New York. Is the salary actually okay? I think the big variable here is his wife still. She's in South America. She's gonna come back on Sunday. So I really won't know until Monday how that conversation over the weekend has gone and whether or not like it's really gone one way or another or just kind of stayed neutral. But he left that conversation, my candidate, with me like a lot more positive. And he's like, I just feel a lot more positive and light and just less stressed out. And that's music to my ears because that's our job at the end of the day. Like getting a new job is stressful for anyone. And so to have someone there, an objective party who wants the best for you, that if you choose to accept the job that they presented to you, like they just want to maximize every single term to make that decision and move as frictionless as possible. Like that's what we do. And that's why recruiters are here for. I was able to then relay this to the recruiter and convey to her that like he wants to talk to her tomorrow to go over the benefits. I conveyed to her that she needs to also keep him excited, but most importantly, like give him the opportunity that if he or his wife or both of them want to chat with her or the founders again, like anything that the candidate needs or wants, like they should just really clearly convey to him that they're willing to accommodate, and just clearly continue to hammer that message home, because I know that they are, and most candidates really wouldn't believe that because it almost kind of sounds too good to be true. So if people are saying recruiters don't give any value, like this is what we do. Like I'm not here to push, I'm not here to give false claims or lie. I'm here to just match what my candidate wants to what the client can offer, just like that. And when you reach out to someone, I'm hoping that you've done the intake call well enough where you know that the people you're reaching out to would be a good fit on, surface level data points from resumes and background, things like that. But after you chat with them and through the interview process, our job is now make sure everything fits, and then we tighten the screws so that it's just like a perfect fit as much as possible. There could still be a chance that I'm gonna lose this, and we won't know until next week, but to me, like this still kind of feels like a win because I felt validated from my candidate who said really kind words to me, and this is his first experience working with a recruiter. And it's so sad talking to people who are like, you know what, I don't even want to talk to you because of a recruiter because they had been burned before in the past, or I've had experiences with recruiters before and it was just horrible. I know I have my down moments. I have days where I'm not the best and I'm always trying to do better and I try to hold myself accountable, but like on days where I feel like I'm doing the best that I can for the better and for the best interest of my candidates, but then to kind of get that response back, it just feels great. It's just reminds me why I'm doing what I'm doing and willing to go through all the shenanigans and tough moments and all the stress to keep at it. I'm not here to share that there's only one way to do recruiting. And for a lot of the people that reached out to me and providing constructive criticisms on how I'm handling situations, I love it. Please keep it coming. Like it's always great to think of or to understand how other people would address or handle different situations. I'm just showing what works best for me. And again, it's not perfect at all. It just works best for me. And there are a lot of things I can improve. I'm doing my best to constantly improve it. But to hear other people's point of views, people who are more experienced than I am, different industries, it's just awesome. And even though like some may just give you like the real truth, and it might be, if they're like, oh, like you handled this poorly, you should do better. It's not the easiest thing to hear, but I love it because it's constructive, and that's how I learn. I learn through action, I learn through feedback. And so for everyone who's just literally spending seconds or minutes to just type something, I really appreciate that. And I hope that this is giving you value, and if you've really liked something in this video or episode so far that really stood out to you, comment down below. We'd love to kind of hear your thoughts. But I still have a bunch more sourcing. It is 6:30 now. And surprisingly, I feel a lot better. I feel a lot more higher energy and positive right now. Just what I needed to kind of finish the day strong. No offers yet, but still a good day is a good day. Happy Thursday. It is almost 10 p.m. here. A standard early day here in the recruiting Preston Park household, but a quick update. Was able to sync up with my healthcare client and was officially able to pick up the CTO role, which I'm pumped about because I've only, I think, recruited CTO once before in my life. It is the most senior level position that you can be in, a technical position at a software-based company. It's called Chief Technology Officer. And if you've been watching for a while, you know the drill. My first objective was to have a really successful intake call. And the purpose of the intake call is not only manage expectations on sharing with the hiring manager, your client, exactly what they can expect working with you and the process and the timeline and all that good stuff. But most importantly for me, to get into my client's head, to get inside their brain and understand what the ideal persona profile would look like for the ideal person for this role. And as close as you can get, the better that you can be in terms of targeting for the ideal person. And if you don't do this well, if you don't ask the right questions, if you don't really dig deep, if you don't do really any of that, then when you get started in your searching, you're gonna go after the wrong people, which will ultimately waste your time and which will ultimately waste the hiring manager's time. The reason why I've been getting a lot of feedback, and some people are like, wow, Preston, like some of your interviews, processes with candidates are quick. is because some of them frankly are, and there are a lot of things that I utilize and different tools, different ways to be able to kind of tactfully push candidates or tactfully push clients to make things forward, but that can only be possible if the candidate is in alignment with that job. If the candidate is not in alignment with that job, there's no amount of pushing or selling. They're just not going to end up getting a job, or they're just not going to have a good experience. So first and foremost, you need to make sure exactly what you're recruiting for, and all that happens at the intake call. And that's also just assuming you know that market that you're in, you know the positions that you're working, so you know the right questions to ask. I was able to officially pick that up. Super pumped. We're going to target New York City, and because they're in the healthcare tech and digital health space, I will be targeting candidates with kind of a healthcare tech relevant background. That's not a prerequisite, but if they have one, that's fantastic. And then if they don't have that, then really just target any solid, well-known software companies and technology startups. They also have to be happy to be hands-on with coding. Because the team is super small, there's only about 5 of them, there will be times when they would have to kind of step up and do some coding. So gotta find a CTO who's happy to be hands-on. There are company stacks in JavaScript, so if the CTO has a familiarity with that stack, that would be ideal. And then because the company is working out of an office space in a hybrid fashion, they're really looking for someone that's within the New York City area. So these are like really the main buckets that I really want to make sure I was crystal clear with. And then there's loads of other questions in terms of the scope, responsibilities, and other things that they'd be looking for in the candidate, etc. And so I feel pretty good about this. Gonna probably start a search tomorrow. I really actually want to start a search tonight, but I lost track of time and didn't know how late it was. Aside from that, I think I heard back from an aviation tech company. They want to open up a PM role and a product analyst role. I'm actually now going to hop on the phone with a direct hiring manager for both of these roles, because if you've also been watching, you know that sometimes I don't go off of what the job rec says. I don't go after what the recruiter says, or even like the head of the department. I want to be able to talk and interface with the direct hiring manager, partly because it allows me to develop a relationship directly with them, but also they will be the right person to know all the important qualifications, skills, and tools you need to know in this job. And so by me understanding that, by being able to directly hear from them like what they're looking for, then I can really kind of, again, establish a good expectations and timeline, but most importantly, understand exactly what they're looking for so I don't waste my time when I search. A lot of times when companies come to me saying, can you help me with this, can you help me with that, can you help me with this? Unless I understand exactly or 95% of what they're looking for, I'm not gonna get started or even bother starting a search until I talk to them. I know that for some recruiters, they would already start the search. They have no problem doing that. But for me, I have a way that works for myself, and I just want to make sure that I am working to preserve my time, but also more importantly, to preserve the client's time and ultimately the candidate's time if they're going to choose to interview through me to my clients. For small companies, for founders that are building in this market, my heart goes out to you. Things were tough enough with the pandemic, but now you toss in the recession on top of that, man, I can't even fathom the amount of stress and responsibility that you have to face every single day to not only motivate yourself, but then to motivate your team and take care of your team and continue to help scale for the sake of obviously your mission, vision, your investors, and your future success story. And so talking to my client just got me thinking again. And what really just makes me respect him a lot is, as a small company, he knows that he's competing against the Facebook and Googles. He knows he's competing against the larger, more established companies with deeper pockets, with nicer offices, with nicer benefits and perks to share. But what he is able to do to compensate is he's able to kind of do whatever he can to be as competitive on all fronts as much as possible. Really put his best foot forward and use whatever ammo he can get to be competitive. And this is exactly the right mindset you need to have when you're building in this market. And this also just reminds me of the conversation I had earlier with Clean Tech. You know, they hired a couple of new recruiting managers, a head of people, and now they're kind of benchmarking everything. And, you know, I understand the whole reasons why you need to benchmark so that, you know, everyone that you hire, you can pay them equally based on their years of experience. You don't want to overpay someone, you don't want to underpay someone. But what's happening is that the benchmark that they're getting is based on data, and that you can find easily online. And the thing is, you should totally do that if you're an internal recruiter, but you also have to kind of add some market conditions, modifications to those numbers as well. And a lot of the numbers are not adjusted for what we're facing right now with recession, with post 2020, with ridiculous competitive demand for really good technical talent. And so the benchmark that they were able to share with me is significantly lower than what my candidate would be looking for. They said 110 and 150. My candidate's already making 160. So like even off the bat, don't even have to negotiate. Like what my candidate's currently making is significantly more than what they're benchmarking. So like they have to shift their focus with that too, because if they continue to just follow the benchmarks, they're not gonna make any higher moving forward. For small companies, like why would somebody that undergone 2020 who's now going through recession want to leave their cushy job for a small startup? For the company to be able to share that story, it really helps with getting the basics right, like the salary and benefits and 401k and the culture and the vision and things like that. But what can also help is working with recruiters like us, where we understand and we get really close to their clients. We understand exactly who they are, what they stand for, what makes them tick, and then be able to be like an additional selling voice to the candidates to make them excited. So there's only so much I can do if I know that my client can't deliver. So we like to work with companies that can meet us halfway and they can kind of check off all the criteria that we'd be looking for in a really good partner, because I know that if they're willing to meet me in the middle, I can do my job and we can get stuff done, we can get people hired, and we can drive results over and over and over and over and over again. For our founders who are stubborn, who will not adjust to market conditions, who want to just hire and recruit their own way, they're going to continue to have a difficult time. And then ultimately they're going to be pushed to contracting hourly, maybe hire someone international. It could work for them. That's not a bad thing. But if you're looking to hire full-time here in America, especially in software and especially in tech, like there has to be a willingness to open to other perspectives, to other people who are just living and breathing recruiting in tech 24/7 like we are. We have the luxury of speaking to a lot of different founders, a lot of different companies across all sectors, across all markets, across all stages and sizes. So chances are what we see and what we hear could be helpful to you and your company if you so choose to. But either way, it's been a great day. Just really, really grateful that despite everything, we're still picking up new positions, and we will do whatever we can with the utmost sense of urgency to get done. So I got 2 more things to do today, and then we'll see you tomorrow. Happy Friday afternoon. A couple really exciting updates. Number one, I think for my engineer who is in process of my clean tech company, he's going to sync up with a recruiter. I'm not sure exactly when that's happening, so I'll sync up with them. Hopefully that goes well. It seemed like my director of marketing candidate with my aviation tech client did really, really well. He had a chat with the CPO yesterday, and I'm just basically kind of asking and pushing my hiring manager, like, what do you guys want to do? He has a potential another offer, but based on his other chat with the CPO, that went well enough. So he actually hopped on the phone with my hiring manager this morning, who is the CMO, and apparently after that conversation that went really well, that he now ranks my company number 1, baby. Before it was number 2, now it's number 1. But here's the thing, I got a little feedback from my client who said that the CPO had a maybe feedback, not a resounding positive. And so because of that, she's like, oh, I don't know, should I move forward? Should I not move forward? I'm like, look, her and another colleague had a resounding yes. Like they both love my candidate so much. And so this is a maybe. So is that enough to like shut down the offer altogether? And I'm like, you can do that, but you're gonna have to wait a lot more time. It's a very competitive market. This is a very hard role to fill. And so not just that, their CPO is like really, really hard to just make happy in general. So it could just be a long time for them to continue to find someone that they ultimately like. She said that she was open to kind of move forward. I think not exactly sure what she wants to do. I texted her, I haven't heard back, but she had a good conversation with my candidate. My candidate says he now ranks my client number 1. I was not able to hear back from my client after that. Seemed like she probably won't be able to make a decision today, maybe next week. But what's really great is now we're now in a stronger position. My candidate thought my client, and he felt my client was more of a number 2, but now it's number 1 because he shared his concern with me, and I relayed that back to my hiring manager saying, hey, this is what the candidate's really concerned about. Can you just expand the scope because you really like him so that we can include a lot of this stuff? And I think that's what she did. And now the candidate is super pumped. So that worked out really well, but I'm not exactly sure what she's thinking because it seems like she's really hung up on the feedback of the CPO. Late last night, I also got an email that my healthcare tech client that I'm doing a CTO search for, by the way, found my first CTO, talked to him this morning, submitted him. They already have a first interview set next Wednesday, which is amazing. I love it when the first candidate is solid. He also now wants us to open and do a sales manager. So I actually just got off the phone with him about 30 minutes ago, and we picked that up, really focusing in the New York City area, ideally healthcare, digital health space. And if they're current sales or pharmaceutical reps or sales managers, they're probably fair game. So I'm going to reach out to them probably first thing early next week. My clean tech company is asking me to also help them with a product manager role. Got to figure out exactly what they want. Now, here's the thing, like over the past couple of weeks, a lot of people are like, oh my God, like you're actually recruiting a lot of different types of positions. So I personally have a core group positions, and my database is 99% a core group, product marketing and engineering. A lot of the positions that I like to feature that are not are only kind of a small percentage of like my greater desk. But again, I would only consider it, and you've seen me kind of consider it because these are with like really, really, really strong client of mine. And so I will do whatever I can if I have the bandwidth to get that done. So I'm excited to kind of see if we can maybe take on the project manager, but I will definitely do the sales role. We have a big database that I know the space really well. And then just been spending my whole day on product and project this whole day. And it's just a lot of people to kind of reach out to and source. But so far it's just been a good day. It's been a good week. No offers yet. The closest one is my clean tech energy engineer, but his wife's not going to come back until Sunday. So he's probably going to want to talk it over with her, and we just want to do whatever we can to understand her concerns and his concerns, maybe present them and have a conversation with the CEO or the founders. But that's not going to happen until next week. So other than that, like always, we have a bunch of designers, we have a bunch of product and engineering and sales that are just in process, that are slowly moving forward. Going to hit engineers hard again. Wasn't able to hit engineers as much as I would like this week because of focusing on other positions, but going to go back and probably start the first half of next week really, really strong. So right now I'm going to see, I have about 5 more candidate calls. I'm going to be on call essentially if my clean tech company needs to talk to me about my engineering candidate who is in the offer stage, and anything else, even with this director of marketing and email. So we'll see what happens. Hello. It is Friday afternoon, and I think it's that time to say thank you again for watching. And I really always appreciate it. Extremely grateful for everyone tuning in to watch me just trying to straight up recruit with you all every single week, and feeling a little bit tired right now, but still overall very positive, and definitely looking forward to the weekend to do a little R&R. It's actually a long weekend, so gonna spend some extra time to really just relax and chill because as you've been watching, recruiting is very unpredictable. It can also be emotionally and psychologically straining and just super, super fast paced. So it's really nice to kind of in the evenings on the weekends to kind of take a time off. But we were not able to end this week off with an offer, but I believe we are taking a couple of steps forward in the right directions. I'm not still 100% confident that we can make any of these happen, but we do have a lot of other candidates across a lot of other roles that are slowly moving forward, which is great. But really happy and blessed that we're experiencing just productive business here in the middle of summertime, right around the corner of the recession, or if the recession is actually happening. I know our greater tech industry has been hit. A lot of companies are doing layoffs, and there's a lot of uncertainty, a lot of fear. But on the other side, there's a lot of companies that are still getting a lot of funding and growing and hyper growing and having very ambitious, aggressive recruiting. So it's really weird, like mixed signals here. But just doing my best for myself to keep my head down, to provide as much value as I can, and just doing the best job. And sometimes we win, sometimes we don't. But we just keep on going, and that's all we can count ourselves to do. Don't stress and don't worry about the things you can't control. Just worry about the things you can control, and just focus on doing the best over and over and over again, and be consistent. But it's been a really, really good week. A lot of intense kind of back and forth negotiations, a lot of out of the box creative solutions. If you are as excited as I am about the summer, about really trying to do the best that you can in the summertime, and you have, aside from vacation goals and beach goals, you also have business recruiting goals, please feel free to like, subscribe, click that bell. It'll really give us all the energy and focus needed to just continue to show up and just work and do the same thing over again. Don't forget to also follow on our free Discord channel. It is free, and it's made for all like-minded individuals to come and network and to ask questions and help each other out. I'm all about collaborating and helping each other out as much as possible, and I will make more of an effort to be more active there as well. That would be also the perfect place to reach out and ask questions. If you are a recruiter and you work for yourself, always open to meet and collaborate and partner. If you guys have a great track record in a specific market hit me up. If you have a lot of great clients and you're struggling to fill them, or you have a lot of great candidates and you're struggling, or you want to find them or pitch them more roles, reach out to me. I'm all about working with you behind the scenes to give our clients better pipeline, but also to give our candidates more options for fantastic jobs. But I love what I do, and I'm really, really excited when all of you reach out and sharing that you're just starting a recruiting career or you've been doing it for quite some time. I love hearing your successes. I love hearing your wins. But don't forget, like with any job, it is hard. It will require commitment, consistency, and just toughness, physically, emotionally, and mentally. And so take care of yourself. Make sure you get good enough sleep, especially in the agency world where we can't rely so much on a stable salary. You just have to be on your A game every week. So party, have fun, but make sure you take care of yourself and try to mitigate and minimize feeling subpar the next day. Try to drink and hydrate and just overall make sure you're on your A game and you bring it and bring the fire, because that's the only way we can provide top value every single day. So really grateful to you all, really grateful for our candidates and clients who continue to entrust us with their time and finding their dream job or dream candidate. And I love that feeling when we get positive feedback, which you did earlier this week. But I appreciate you all. If you have any questions, if you want to see other aspects of recruiting, if you want me to address any specific other questions more specific about the lifestyle or technical or tools about recruiting, please let me know. We'll definitely try my best to include those in future videos or make one-off videos about them. But it is Friday. It is here I am just checking out, but I am looking forward to next week to see what we can do together, and let's keep at it. Let's keep doing our best. Let's keep focusing on building strong relationships and not doing any shortcuts and providing the most value. And overall, let's do whatever we can together to elevate recruiting. So happy Friday. Hope you had a great weekend, and we'll see you on the next one.